everyone, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have a Sony direct drive turntable, a PS-T15. This was dropped off just for a look over. I have a customer who likes to flip turntables, goes out, buys vinyl collections, and while he's there he usually asks if they have any turntables for sale, and he picks them up. And then before he turns them over to the public for sale, he likes to drop them off here just to make sure they're working correctly. So this was one of the tables that he got in a recent vinyl collection, and I'm just going to have a quick look at it. Nothing too exciting here. I'm sure it works fine. Sonys are usually very reliable turntables. I don't think they get a ton of respect out there because, you know, when you think turntables, it's probably not the first name that pops into your mind. But Sony made extremely reliable products. They're very serviceable. Not only their turntables, but their amplifiers, receivers, CD players. The service manuals are probably the best in the business. Everything's just labeled beautifully. So, you know, they got a reputation back in the day for quality, reliability, and innovation. The company today is probably, you know, not the same as far as, you know, quality and reliability. I know I personally bought a 70-inch Sony TV about 4 years ago, and it crapped out within 2 years. I got a huge blue blob in the center of the screen. So that was my last Sony TV. But we're not talking about today's Sony, we're talking about Sony of old. And this table is a very nice example of the quality that they made. Now, this is a budget model. There's nothing particularly special about it. It's just a auto return, direct drive, not quartz lock. It's a servo turntable, so we'll probably end up cleaning the pitch controls and lubricating the motor and setting up the arm. And hopefully, you know, cables are not broken. I don't think this one has a ground. This one's internally grounded, so no ground cable to worry about on this one. So why don't we begin with our general service of this Sony. Mat's good and pliable. Just want to have a peek under here. A classic Sony setup. Here's the magnetic head that reads the speed of the turntable. This can be adjusted. Let's just give it a quick overview as far as how it's operating before we actually start tearing it apart. Let's see if there's any problems. Quickly plug it in. Okay, it kind of clicked on and off there. That might have been just the auto return coming back. So this is going to be a manual start. Queuing up. And speed's stable on it. The pitch control is not even dirty. 33 right on the money. 45 looks good. We're still going to clean these controls. Let's see if our reject works. It does. Shuts off. Let's just check our auto return. And it works as well. I have a feeling this is going to be a quickie. But, you know, the goal here is to try to document as many of these different models as possible. So if you happen to have a PS-T15, it'll give you a rough idea how to service it. So let us begin. Platter mat off. Platter off. Put your dust cover back on. I'm going to remove the head shell. This has got an interesting cartridge, by the way. This is an Empire. You don't see a lot of these anymore. The Empire company went out of business, but a lot of people swear by these cartridges, and they were definitely interesting looking. They had a whole series of cartridges, and some of the bodies were like shiny gold, like really good looking. Different looking as far as the the way it stood off from the head shell, so it was kind of neat actually. Standard moving magnet with replaceable stylus. You can still get the stylus aftermarket, although the originals are definitely better on these ones. So that's a cool cartridge. I checked the needle under the microscope, and it still looks good. So hopefully be able to give this one a sound test. Okay, flipping this one over. I'm not putting a mat down because this cover is scratched to hell. And we're not going to be scraping it around or anything, so don't worry. And we got a boatload of screws, so we'll pause and then we'll come back when those are out. Okay, all our screws are out. This table, the feet are really starting to get soft and cracked. They're really starting to look kind of nasty because it's probably been sitting on those feet for decades. You can kind of see the cracks in the rubber. Hopefully that focuses. Just starting to look a little bit yucky. And all they do is they just press through the top here, so they're really easy to replace. You just buy some aftermarket feet and screw them on or whatever. But here's your shield for your cable. And then there you go, here's your classic Sony direct drive. There's not a lot to this one. We will service the motor on this one because it probably needs it. And we'll get out our pitch and speed control under here. But let's start with the motor. Let's zoom in a little bit here. And usually you're going to have like 4 screws. The motor might be, the motor board might be screwed down as well. Yeah, there's a screw there and a clip here. So, and there's 2 grounds here. So there's your main ground that goes to your, oh, you can't see that, but there's a main ground here that goes to the RCA cables. And then there's another ground that carries to the front of the turntable here. So you got to remember to put those on or you're going to get buzz. One screw here. This board will come up with the motor. Okay. Come up from the clip here. Oh, we got a couple wires here. We gotta let go of. Goes out of the way. And it's going to be difficult to turn over just because there's so much on here. So here it is. Some fine pitch speed controls here, just in case your top control is a little bit off, which is pretty typical. So it's going to be the same as any other direct drive motor. All you want to do is pull, and there it is. There's your magnet. Your little ball bearing at the top, main bearing, and there's a bushing down here. Oh, there we go. There's absolutely no oil left in this whatsoever. Nothing in there, and this is pretty much dry. So definitely needs your typical service. I was out at the hardware store yesterday. I was just looking at machine oils. Yeah, there's nothing on here at all. Just thinking about buying some new oils to have here. I was looking at the actual 3-in-1 brand, which is made by WD-40, and they have what they call an electric motor oil, and it's equivalent to an SAE 20. So I might pick up a little jar of that. Just try some new oils. I like to have a different variety around here. I'm starting to run low. Well, not really run low, but starting to run out of the my main oil, which I use quite a bit, which is that Super Lube by Liquid Wrench. Let's see if I can find some more of that somewhere. Yeah, there's nothing in here. Okay. You can always check the capacitors when it's off. Just have a look for leaks and stuff. See if there's any fuzzies on the legs. You'll notice any kind of leakage. But don't misinterpret leaking electrolyte for capacitor glue, because in the factories what they did a lot of times is they actually glued down big caps to the board, and it can look like leaking electrolyte, but it's not. Now that glue can be corrosive after so many years, and it is a good idea to scrape it off if you do see it. But a lot of people tend to make the mistake of thinking that glue is leaking electrolyte, and it's not. These all look okay, and based on the way it was spinning, I wouldn't touch them. Alright, so we're just going to use some of that oil I was talking about, the Super Lube oil. A few drops in there. And throw one on the ball here. And just a little bit on the side. And we'll put that back in. And there you go. That's it. Motor serviced. A lot of wires on this motor here. Just make sure everything's out of the way. Put your wires back. Okay, we've got that clipped under here. We've got to make sure our grounds go back. Don't over tighten, because you're putting a metal screw into plastic and it will break. There's ground number 1. Just snug. Get in there. Ground number 2. Okay, our motor's back in. It's been lubricated. Let's work on our pitch controls, which are under here. Just a piece of plastic that comes up like that. And then we've got our speed switch and our 2 in here. Speed switch and pitch control, that's it. So we've got a couple very small screws there to take out. Oh, this is ground. Oh, we got another ground over here. I am going to take it out just in case it's holding something down here. Yeah, it's actually holding down the speed switch. Okay, there we go. Oh, you know what? I think, yeah, you got to remove the knob from the top. All right, so do that. There we go. Now we got it. Okay. So just a little bit of contact cleaner. I'm going to use, MG Chemicals Neutral here, which I pay $11.99 for, which is a lot cheaper than Deoxit. So we're shotting the switch here. Exercise it. And then I've got another 2 small little pots here for speed control. I wonder if the ones on the motor board were maybe a voltage adjustment. Shoot your pitch control here. And whip that back and forth. Yeah, so I guess you can adjust the, yeah, and if you look here, there's a couple little holes on this plastic piece. So I'm just wondering if they correspond to a couple holes in the bottom cover where you can adjust your speed. Okay. I'm just going to go back. Around. That's in a real pain in the ass position. Yeah, this is a really nasty spot here to put a ground. All right, perfect. And we'll put this back on when we turn the table back over. So that's it as far as servicing of the, yeah, you can see these 2 holes here. They're going to line up with these 2 little pots here, right? Ground cable out of the way there. Now that is a turntable with way too many screws in the bottom. Anyway, we're back together here. The head shell's back on. Let's balance the arm. So as you know, put your arm in the middle between the tone arm rest and the platter. And then you're going to want to, oh, that's squeaky. You want to pull your weight back until your arm floats. It's perfectly balanced. Now, I'm not liking the weight on this thing at all. I think we're going to have to do this one with a digital scale. Well, that's balanced. So I just don't like the way this is moving around. It's very squeaky and it doesn't turn nicely. So I'm going to do this one with a scale. So I'm just going to unplug the turntable. Make sure it's not spinning. And we got our scale here. Just to give you an idea, let's turn this to 0. and then we'll turn it to 2 grams. And we'll see what kind of weight we get. Let's see how bad this this is. Oh, maybe it's not that bad. All right, ready? Let's see how accurate that was. See that? Good. Whoa, it's way off. See, I turned that to 2 grams, and it's showing 2.83. So that's way off. It barely moves. So in this case, we'll just achieve 2 grams by pulling the weight in and out. There we go, there's 2 grams. And then what I'll do is I'll set the dial to 2 grams. That way the person knows what they're tracking at. And then we'll turn our anti-skating knob also to number 2, which is right there. And we should be good for sound. Gotta love when one of the family members flushes the toilet in the middle of one of your videos. I just want to say before we actually listen to this thing that I was pretty surprised at how many people actually tuned in to watch the CD player video. At one point it was my #1 video by initial views. I was pretty shocked. One thing I got to say is that I got 2 copyright strikes on that video from that CD that I popped in, and I barely let the audio play for 5 seconds, and boom, all of a sudden it's got the big strike on it. So I had to go back in and actually mute some of the initial playback of the CD. You could probably tell if you're watching the video that it goes silent at one point. So yeah, YouTube copyright strikes are just nasty right now. So anyway, hopefully nothing happens to this one. We're not going to let it play for very long. Turntable's good and quiet. There's no noise. Oh, got to plug it back in. Speed is dead on and beautiful. 45, good. This album's in really rough condition. It was my buddy's. I think he wore it out back in the 80s. Sounds great. Crunchy, crunchy. There we go. Auto lift, auto return. Super. There you go. So what can I say about this turntable? It's a good sounding turntable. Easy to service. Good looking, nice features. You know, it needs a good cleanup obviously, but what a nice little turntable. You know, it's great. So if you find yourself a PS-T15, by all means, buy it. It's a great little turntable. This Empire sounds phenomenal as well. Nice solid bass. I know you can't hear it on YouTube, but on my speakers down here sounds great. So I think I might actually put a record on and have a listen. And anyway, that's it for this one. Just a simple service video. Hopefully if you have a PS-T15 that helped you out, and I'm sure it's going to be a very reliable and long-lasting turntable. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for tuning in again, and we'll catch you in the next video.